India and New Zealand will sign a free trade agreement on Monday in New Delhi in the presence of India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and New Zealand's Minister of Trade and Investment Todd McLay. The agreement, finalized in December 2025 after negotiations that began in March the same year, is aimed at boosting trade ties and expanding economic engagement between the two countries. The agreement is expected to provide duty-free access for Indian exports to New Zealand, opening up significant opportunities for domestic industries. The agreement includes provisions to facilitate services trade, including a temporary employment visa pathway for Indian professionals. It also includes professionals such as Ayush practitioners, yoga instructors, Indian chefs and music teachers, aimed at strengthening workforce mobility between the two countries. The agreement will remove tariffs on 100% of India's exports to New Zealand and either sharply reduce or remove tariffs on 95% of current imports from New Zealand. The agreement is also expected to strengthen economic resilience and support inclusive growth aligned with India's national priorities. New Zealand has committed to investing $20 billion in India over the next 15 years across sectors such as manufacturing, infrastructure, services and innovation, with focus on job creation. New Zealand's Prime Minister Christopher Luxon has called free trade agreement between the two nations a once-in-a-generation agreement that will open access to one of the world's largest markets for Kiwi exporters. In a video message on social media, the New Zealand Prime Minister highlighted the scale of the opportunity, stating that, I quote, "We are signing a free trade agreement with India that opens one of the biggest markets in the world to Kiwi exporters." Calling the agreement a big win, Luxon said that it would help expand exports across key sectors. Ahead of the signing of India-New Zealand FTA, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and New Zealand's Minister of Trade and Investment Todd McLay on Sunday visited the iconic Taj Mahal in Agra. Goyal said that McLay's visit marks a defining moment in the partnership between the two countries. He also added that the agreement aims to significantly boost the trade between the two countries by allowing nearly 100% of Indian goods to enter New Zealand duty-free. The FTA will be signed on Monday in New Delhi.
भारत और न्यूजीलैंड के बीच जो द्विपक्षीय व्यापार समझौता न्यूजीलैंड के वाणिज्य मंत्री टॉड मैकले और मेरे बीच कई वर्षों से बातचीत के बाद तय हुआ, जो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और न्यूजीलैंड के प्रधानमंत्री क्रिस्टोफर लक्सन दोनों के बीच फाइनल हुआ, उसको साइन करने जा रहे हैं। उसको मोहर लग जाएगी कुछ ही महीनों में, फिर वो भारत और न्यूजीलैंड के बीच बड़े पैमाने पे व्यापार भी बढ़ाने का एक साधन बनेगा। लगभग 100% जो भारत से सामान न्यूजीलैंड जाते हैं वो बिना कोई कर के, बिना कोई इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी के वहां पे पहुंच पाएगा।
Agreement that we will sign tomorrow in New Delhi is significant. It is one of the best in the world. It was fastest negotiated. We've shown everybody all around the world when the two like-minded countries come together, great things can happen for our citizens.
On our correspondent Akhilesh Suman is joining us to get us more. Akhilesh, we've seen a lot of positivity and optimism with regard to the India-New Zealand FTA, but I would want you to explain to our viewers in very simple terms, what does this FTA mean for trade, MSMEs and also Indian workers and students?
You know, one of the most important thing between India and New Zealand free trade agreement is that, you know, it has a overwhelming support in New Zealand about, you know, having zero tariff line for goods coming from India to New Zealand, and that is the most important thing, because what happens generally that in the countries there are differences over import duty, but the Trade Minister Macaulay is here in India with all party delegation, and that is one of the most striking things, that it doesn't happen that when a trade minister is coming to a country, you have an all-party delegation with you. So it shows that New Zealand is quite welcoming about India-New Zealand free trade agreement, and this will include the way our whole industries are spread over the country, and India is basically goods are manufactured by the MSMEs, small and medium enterprises, and they had been seeking for good markets abroad, especially in the countries either in Europe or in America or in Oceania. New Zealand is one of the most important countries of Oceania. You have 3 lakh Indian people of Indian origin or NRIs, whatever we say, they are in good numbers. So they will also require Indian goods in where they are residing. So it will give a boost to Indian export at a time when the whole world is confronting with conflicts in different parts of the globe. Also, we have a situation with USA. USA is quite adamant on trade. Tariff, everything on its own terms. So in this situation, India and New Zealand free trade agreement is a very good hope for both India and New Zealand, because New Zealand also wants a market in India, and India is 1.4 billion market. Even a small segment of this market, if one country gets, it gets richer in that way. So I think New Zealand is thinking in the same way that India is thinking, that we will have a good market for you, you will have a good market for me. Our goods will be sold in your country, your goods will be sold in our country. So almost 95% of New Zealand goods will be sold in India without any customs or without any tariff. So that will be a win-win situation for both the countries. And one of the most important thing that we have to safeguard our interest in agriculture, dairy, and these are the very important sectors for India, because these are unorganized sectors in India, and most of the people in agriculture sector, most of the people in rural areas have survival situation because of agriculture and dairy products. So in that way, India has safeguarded this thing, and that is why that we are telling that 95% of New Zealand means 5% of goods coming from New Zealand will have tariff, and that will be announced that what type of tariff lines will be there for them further. But 100% free trade for Indians is a very good thing for India, and it will help boost not only the urban economy but also boost the rural economy, and especially in Uttar Pradesh, when Uttar Pradesh is undergoing one district, one product, and one district, one product means that every district will have some exportable goods in New Zealand. So I think that is going to be very big boost for a state like UP, that is the largest state, but it has been less in industry, less in exports, but now it will give opportunity for Uttar Pradesh to involve its citizens in tradable goods, start a small and medium enterprises afresh, and export it to New Zealand and many other countries with whom we are having a trade agreement. So free trade agreement has come up as a big boost for India in different sectors, and it is a very positive sign for the whole world, because the world, many parts of the many countries of the world are involved in conflict, but India is giving a positive signal that no, in the time of conflict we have a policy of cooperation, we have a policy of trade. So I think that will give encouragement to other countries of global south also as how to engage with the world in uncertain and turbulent times. Preeti.
Thank you so much for joining in with those updates.